The story of the Soninke and the Wagadou Empire starts with Dinga Cissé, the father of all Soninke, whose ancestors migrated into present-day Mauritania and established Wagadou from the Aswan area of ancient Kemi. Their journey follows after a long tradition of Saharan populations who migrated southward upon the desiccation of the Sahara from 5 to 1000 BCE, or 7 to 3000 years ago. The spread of ceramic horizons such as the lighter band complex and concave matting techniques from the Sudano-Chadian border to the Malian Sahara as a central component of the Wadi Hawar diaspora that spread westward from the Hapi River Valley corroborate with this. Phylogenetic analysis of EM2 and EM35 subclades from pre-dynastic Kemi found among the Soninke, in addition to HV1 analysis that connect the Mande to the ancient Remen Kemi, and genome-wide autosomal evidence that show the ancestors of the Soninke arriving in West Africa a few centuries before the Common Era, further confirm this migration. The Urere testimonies document the ancestors of Dinga Cissé originating in the Aswan area, which they called Sana. In this regard, the meaning of Soninke or Soninke is the people of Aswan. The Soninke also call their ancestral nation Kulumgunju, which is similar to Korutumuba in other Mande languages. This term is related to Kurdi, a Met-Remen Kemi name for a district on the Hapi River. Its similarities with the toponym Khartoum validate the expansion of the Khartoumian Neolithic from East to West Africa from 5 to 4,000 years ago. When the Soninke arrived in present-day Mauritania, they established Kumbisela as the capital of the Wagadou Empire, that is also called Ghana. Dr. Theophile Obenga has presented diachronic evidence that the Kumbi toponym of the Soninke is a variation of Kemi in classical Africa. The grandfather of Dinga Cissé, Yugu Dungusi, left Aswan due to geopolitical calamities during the reign of the Persian pharaoh Setut Re or Darius. He established Dindi in the Lake Chad area and had a son named Hirijon Tunka Dunka, who was the father of Dinga Cissé. Tunka or Kayamaga is the Soninke term for pharaoh. En route to Wagadou, Dinga and his son Jabi was guided by deities that are a reference to their Hapi River Valley roots. A jackal named Poi, related to Upawut, a vulture named Duga, related to Haru, a ram named Ama, related to Amun, a hyena named Turunge, related to Maftet, and a seven-headed serpent named Bida, related to Uwajit. Bida is the most important and prominent deity in the Soninke pantheon. In the common folklore, Bida is the one who brought rainfall and gold wealth to Wagadou through ritual sacrifices. Dinga was very well versed in occult knowledge and had the power of Turubu, also known as geomancy, and rain control, known as Sanjiwele, which he transferred to his son, Jabe Cissé. A sacred bond linked Dinga to two hyenas and an eagle named Gardigwe. Dinga's first hyena had a black body with white legs. It had the color of Sankaba, which is the sky. Its name was Jaturufing, or Jaturubine in Soninke. The other had a white body and black legs. This hyena was called Jaba. Today, several Soninke women bear this surname. According to Soninke philosophy and ancient beliefs, no creation on earth has as much knowledge as the hyena and the eagle. Fulunama, the hyena, holds the nocturnal knowledge and the knowledge of the depths of the earth. She smelled the ground and then traced the geomantic signs of Turubu, which she interpreted. Then she cried, and her howl announced happiness or sadness. Duga Silimanjan has heavenly knowledge and daytime knowledge. From his place, he perceives the distant mysteries of the sky and the secrets of the day. Dinga received wide counsel from these animals before making any decision. 44 jars that surrounded a principal jar called Kubari made up his personal altars and contained his immense mystical power. Dinga also had an initiation chain made up of 7 rings that he could either swallow or vomit based upon the circumstance. This chain gave him exceptional powers. Upon their arrival in the Jaliba River Valley, the Soninke engaged in numerous conflicts with the Kakolo people, the ancient inhabitants of the land. In these wars, the Soninke were mounted on chariots and eventually emerged victorious, establishing their authority over the region. Amidst this conquest, Jabe Cissé took a strategic approach to bridge the cultural divide between the Kakolo and the Soninke to foster unity between the two groups. One notable aspect of this assimilation effort was the iron forge ritual of the Diengwere anvil, which held great cultural significance for the communities of the ancient Sahel. This represented the coming together of the Soninke and the Kakolo people, and is also reflected in the diplomatic protocols that the Soninke maintain with all conquered groups. The Soninke founded cities like Chinquetti, which means the well of the horse. Several Soninke names of clans and personal names derive from that of the horse or borrow the name of its dress. These include the surnames Sise for the knight, Dafe, the silver horse, Kale, the immaculate horse, Sisoko or Susoko, he who spurs the horse, Suare, the dotted horse, Si for Sisawane or the horse imposing sky, Sila or Silanke for horse people. And then there are also first names, Sotigui, which is the rider, Soke, which is the horse male, Jimbe or Jime, which is the chestnut horse hair color, and Soje, which is the white horse. Another Soninke metropole was named Guidimaka, which means Maka Mountain, a reference to Maka Sumari, a great Soninke of the Wagadou Empire. Wagadou was a central node in a wide network of infra-Saharan trade that included salt, agricultural crops, gold, iron, copper, and other metallurgical items. According to Dr. John Henry Clark, Wagadou benefited greatly from the commercial links established in ancient Kimi and blossomed once these Remen Kimi migrated to the Hapi River Valley after the fall of their civilizations. The introduction of Camelus thomasi dromedarius, or the African camel, first seen in ancient Kimi during the first millennium BCE, and then subsequently in West Africa from the 3rd to the 5th century in the trans-Saharan trade, greatly amplified social processes that would manifest into the Wagadou Empire. The geostrategic location of Wagadou in the Sahel, in between the Sahara and the Savannah Zone, also offered economic advantages as an intermediary between states in both regions. According to Yakut, Ghana is a great town to the south of the Maghreb, adjacent to the land of the Sudan. Merchants meet in Ghana, and from there one enters the arid waste towards the land of gold. Were it not for Ghana, this journey would be impossible, because the land of gold is in a place isolated from the west in the land of the Sudan. From Ghana, the merchants take provisions on the way to the land of gold. Ancient Wagadou is an example of the wealth-building capabilities of the African mode of production during the pre-colonial period. The 11th and 12th century Arab writers al-Bakri and al-Idrisi saw Ghana as an extremely wealthy nation that thrived on the gold trade. According to al-Bakri, the dogs, horses, and soldiers who guarded the Tunka were dripped in gold. Al-Idrisi, writing in 1154, was convinced that the Tunka had in his possession a nugget of pure gold weighing 30 pounds of absolutely natural formation. All of the gold nuggets were the property of the Tunka, whilst gold dust could be owned by commoners. The Tunka and the heir apparent wore soon clothes, while commoners wore cotton silk or brocade, according to their means. The Tunka had a council of ministers and governors to manage society. Provincial administration was left to the sovereigns of conquered states. The sons of these sovereigns were given an official role in the court in order to ensure their continued allegiance. Al-Bakri informs us that when the Kayamaga sat in state, he was flanked not only by his ministers, but by the sons of vassal rulers who wore splendid garments and plaited their hair with gold. Soninke society in its social regimentation mirrors many of the aspects of classical African civilizations. Families were organized into clans called Khabilo and were responsible for maintaining the ladani or customs of the society in order to promote social harmony and enhance kofo, the collective life. The phrase Seri Susiki Tinokoya, or everyone has to ensure a responsibility or post, describes the nature of kofo. There are three main segments of Soninkara society: the Horo nobles, the Nakamalanu artisans, and the Como captives. The Horo, the upper class of the Soninke, consists of the Tunkalemu, which are the highest class responsible for miere, or leadership over the provinces called Kutiye. The administration of justice was also the responsibility of the Tunka. In Ghana, the life of the Kayamaga was governed by a similar tradition to that of the Nisud of ancient Kimi. The daily protocols of the 11th century Kayamaga Tunka Menin illustrates this. Each morning the Tunka went out every day to address his people on a throne inside a pavilion, around which stood 10 horses, caparisoned in gold materials. Behind him stood 10 pages carrying shields and swords mounted in gold. He was followed by his entire court and preceded by giraffes and elephants who were also draped in gold. The sound of a drum called Diba opened the session. He commanded everyone who had suffered injustice or misfortune to come before him and stay until the wrong was corrected. This was the way African sovereigns maintained contact with their people in order to feel the socio-political pulse of the population. Trial by wood was also practiced in ancient Ghana. When a man is accused of denying a debt or having shed blood or some other crime, an official takes a thin piece of sour and bitter wood and pours water on it. He then gives it to the defendant to drink. If he vomits, he is innocent. If he doesn't, he is guilty as charged. Succession in Ghana was matrilineal in that each male Tunka was the son of his predecessor's sister. The palace, court etiquette, usage of drums, burial of the Tunka, and worship practices all find commonalities in classical Africa, as well as the forest kingdoms of West Africa that emerged after the fall of Wagadou. The next in line among the Huru are the Mangu, who are the right hand of the Tunka Lemu, and refer to them as Batu Mbapa, the leader, and always walk ahead of them to protect them from harm. They are the warriors and mediators of the Soninke and manage the Wagadou army that consisted of 200,000 soldiers, of which 40,000 were archers. The Mangu also help the Tunka Lemu with internal and external diplomacy. For the Soninke, the relationship between the Mangu and the Tunka is more valuable than gold and silver. They serve as his eyes, ears, hands, and foot. The next group of the Huru are called the Mudini, who are responsible for spiritual affairs. They lead prayers and teach a syncretic form of Islamic science in the Masiye and Haranyibu, which constitute the traditional school. They are also responsible for marriages, naming newborns, and are very well respected in Soninke society. They are offered an annual gift called Jaka, which comes from the harvest. The last group of the Huru are called Nyinyagumu, and are responsible for the management and distribution of land. The next class of the Soninke are the Nakamalanu, who are largely responsible for craft techniques such as metalworking, wood carving, pottery, leatherworking, and they also help mediate sorodinde, or familial conflicts, and are known as conciliators or sorondindano. Being a Nakamalanu requires a great speaking ability. The highest rank of the Nakamalanu are the Tago, who are the metallurgists, blacksmiths, and jewelers. They are in charge of making rustic works, materials, doors, door locks, handles, reins, stirrups, weapons in knives, swords, arrows, and rifles, as well as jewels. They are very well respected in Soninke society because they possess the power of fire, can heal burn victims, and are in charge of male circumcision. The next group are called the Sako, who manage wood carving. They make mortars, pestles, wood bowls, called nori, shelves, sticks, seats, and canoes. They are believed to possess the power of the trees. On account of that power, people fear them. The next section of the Nakamalanu are the Geseru and Jaru, who are praise singers and genealogists. They accompany the Tunka in the royal court playing instruments such as the dondonge and the gambari. They are specialists in telling the tariku or history, story tales called kisa, and genealogy called danbe. They know many secrets of the Kabilo families. Many people fear the tongue of the Jare on account of what they know and their magic speech. They are the masters of speech, archivists, and the memoir of the Soninke. This traditional function is fundamental with rigorous training required to prepare the next generation. In fact, it is a gase, shame or deception, when a Ja'are is not able to tell the Turiku and the Danbe of the people. They also play an important role in the resolution of conflict or misunderstanding between the people. The next group, called Ma'abu, are in charge of pottery. They make products from clay such as gumbi, which is a small cannery ware, lale, which is a big cannery ware, ande, which is an incense device, and benge. All their items are made of earth. Thanks to the products of the Ma'abu, people can keep water, which is vital for residential living. The next group, the Garanko, are the specialists of leather, which they use to make shoes and articles of clothing. In addition to that, they are proficient in training horses and also manage the Garanko Yakaru, or tattoo gum of women, which is a sign of beauty and fertility. The last group of the Nakamalanu are the Fina and Dagaduma, who are the griot of the Tago, Sako, and Garanko. They recite the genealogy of their bosses and praise them on the occasion of familial ceremonies using an instrument called juburi, which is the tambourine. The final subdivision of the Soninke are the Komo, who are the servants. They are divided in the following categories. The first is the Ja'agarafu, or Wa'anakunko, who serve the Tunka, and Debengumi, which is the leader of the village. They are the general receiver of the land office fees. When the leader cannot move, the Ja'agarafu go to the nearest land and the farthest one to convey their message. Their principal role is to ensure the task of execution related to the public affairs of the village. The next group is called the Komo Ragonto. They are war captives used to do the hard works called Golu Koto, such as Sokoye or plowing and Suwa Kereye, which is the chopping of wood. Next we have the Komo Kobonto, which are indentured servants purchased by the Huru to do household work. The Sardo are the children of the Komo Kobonto and Komo Ragonto. The Komo Bangandito are Komo who experience enfranchisement known as Bangande or self-liberation known as Dubangande after working off their debts. Once freed, they could enjoy all of the benefits of citizenship, such as home ownership. The final group of the Komo are called the Komo Huronto, who could be freed by learning Islamic science or by offering their daughters in marriage. The Soninke people, with their rich cultural heritage, continue to exert a profound influence on the modern world. Their enduring impact can be witnessed in various domains such as politics, music, trade, and infrastructural development. Politically, Soninke leaders have played pivotal roles in shaping the governance structures of countries like Mali, Senegal, and Mauritania. In the realm of music, the hypnotic rhythms of Soninke griot traditions have permeated contemporary genres such as Afrobeat, which influences artists worldwide. Additionally, the Soninke's historical expertise in trans-Saharan trade has contributed to the development of global economic networks, leaving an indelible mark on modern commerce. The Soninke diaspora, scattered across different continents, continues to preserve their cultural practices and values while actively participating in diverse societies. Through their legacy, the Soninke people stand as a testament to the enduring power of cultural heritage in shaping the modern human experience.